we bought a house. It's this house, actually. In an earlier video, I detailed us selling our Seattle house and kind of what that looked like. And we moved about 6 hours south to Eugene, Oregon. And our plan was to be in a rental for a little while and build our house. And then in that interim, to buy some rental property. And that's what we did. We bought what we thought was a rental house. And my wife, as some of you may know, got pregnant. After almost a decade of trying, we finally had a baby, and she did not want to be in a construction site and in the middle of the craziness that is building a house while being pregnant or with a new baby. So we switched gears and we decided to move into the house that we bought as investment property, which is great. It means that we swapped kind of what we were doing as far as some of the finishes and some of the systems. So let me walk you through our new house that is not a rental anymore. In buying the house, we knew it needed a lot of things, but the price per square foot was perfect for what its intended purpose was. As we decided to move into it ourselves, we changed some of those things, like we took out a couple of walls.
After taking one of those walls down, we installed a door here that will go out onto a deck eventually. And then we also tore down this rickety awning and replaced it with something really nice so that maybe if you were sitting under it and the wind blew, you wouldn't be killed by a crappy awning. As work started on the house, I would be working beside 2 and 3 other contractors at the same time, trying to take advantage of the good weather. After years of working on our former house, it was nice to go into a wall on the exterior that actually had insulation in it. My wife is a champ and didn't say one word when she showed up and there was a giant hole in the house and a new door. She knew it'd be okay.
Door is in, drywall is patched, another couple of coats of mud and some sanding, and you'll never know. Nobody will ever know. I've just got the siding tacked up here temporarily. I still need to put the weather stripping around the door, and I'm short one piece of T111 for that corner. So that'll all go on tomorrow. All right, everything roughed in, panel on. Gonna put a little bit of primer on that bad boy and get it painted. And then the deck, of course, will go here. Shower here, hot tub here. We didn't want to leave just bare T111, so went ahead and put a couple coats of primer on. It is spring now, so a few months later, and we're getting ready to paint in the next couple of months, and I'm going to go ahead and hit that with another nice thick globby coat of primer just to make sure that we're good to go.
Let's talk about this death trap awning that wasn't tacked down properly. The metal flapped, it was screwed through the roofing shingles, and so it leaked. It rocked back and forth, and yeah, this looked like crap. We absolutely had to have something done about this. So I drew up some plans and had a couple of framing contractors bid. We didn't go with the lowest bidder. I wanted to do it myself, but with having another job, there was no way I could do this by myself and get it done by the time that we wanted to move in, so I outsourced it. And this was the basic rough idea, to pull a gable end out with the existing roof line there. Easy peasy, or so I thought. I drew up some really detailed plans and walked through with each of the contractors that bid, and they all seemed to get it. Now, thankfully, I didn't have to pull a permit because it's less than 200 square feet, and my city says, cool, you don't need a permit for that, so that was nice. So work started on time, and I was in and out of town, and had pictures sent, and everything looked good, and they were doing it, how I had said, and yeah, I came back into town and realized that there were a few problems, like it being out of square. And I spent two 12-hour days running electrical and putting the strong back on the rafters in the ceiling and things like that.
So you see this a lot in the trades. This contractor was one of those 90% guys. He got it like 90% done and then just kind of screwed off. Now you'll see there is some construction grade lumber used in finish. Yeah, I call your attention to this hotness. Not so much that the wire isn't terminated, just the fact that these individual pieces landed exactly where every single light fixture was, except for one. That is where the hatch is to the attic there, and yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. This wasn't supposed to be here. These boards, this sort of coffered ceiling look is not what was supposed to be done, but it was done to hide a problem that they had being square up there. Not as bad as, say, that problem, like all of it, or even that, but enough to make me say dirty words, and enough that I asked them not to come back to the job site. Yep, that is how you get fired. There's no fixing that. There's just not. That's just really shitty work. Shiners, gaps, that sort of thing. So it's all got to be fixed before we paint. One other issue is there's no vents. Now the top ridge is vented, but there were no holes cut, and yeah, all of those have to be drilled and some mesh put up before we paint, just so that I don't have plywood rot in the roof.
I spent some nights and weekends fixing the screw-ups and got it prepped for the roofers who got the membrane underlayment on before the rain showed up for the winter. While all the work on the outside was going on, there was also work inside going on. One of the first projects that we got done in the house was the installation of a new fireplace insert. All right, install 90%. We have to wait for the city to come in and inspect back here before we put the trim piece all the way around. And once they do that, I'll put the trim piece in and then set this back another 1/2 inch. But yeah, I think that's gonna look really nice. We set 2 big initial fires to cure all the paint and to outgas everything. Good Lord, it smelled. Like the whole house was stinky for both fires. But after those 2, it was well worth it. The fireplace insert performed beautifully and warmed the whole family, as you can see. The house didn't have AC, so we installed split units, and worked out really well for both heat and for AC. We split it between the upper and lower, and so we can individually control each part of the house. As part of the permit for the HVAC, we actually put a new panel in and did a bunch of rewiring just to bring it up to modern code and to make everything nice and safe. The new panel is in. Let's take a gander. Oh, look at that. Look at all of the labels. And I got spares in there for activities. Prior to us buying the house, someone else owned it as a rental house, and then the people that leased it kind of had an illegal duplex, and they put this weird wall downstairs in what should be the family room, and we decided that we didn't need an illegal duplex, and we decided to tear that wall right out. Well, that wall came right down, easy peasy. The old popcorn ceiling was under the wall, so I gotta scrape that and do a little change there, but nothing too bad. Speaking of tearing down walls, my wife made the executive decision that we needed more of an open concept, open floor plan, and this wall here in the kitchen was not load bearing. There's trusses in the attic, and she decided it had to go. And she was right. The plan in its place is to install an island, something like this, but with a wine fridge where the wall once was.
I'm making a mess. Jeez.
Like, why would you wire it that way? Here we go. Had the electricians in, and I've got two 20 amp circuits for plugs for the island. We relocated the switches, and couldn't get through the top plate, so had to do a little bit of drilling. And then it's kind of the same here, just a little bit of creative wire routing. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in place properly, and then we'll get it mudded and taped, and you'll never see. This light's gonna come out and get drywalled over, and I'll put 4 can lights here in the kitchen. The first little bit of mud is on. Plugs, holes in the wall, ceiling. So let's get a couple more good coats on and then texture it, and we'll be done. Well, I mean, ish. Are we ever done? No. Instead of putting a composite 3-tab architectural shingle type roof on, we decided even before it was going to be our home, even as a rental, that we were going to put a steel roof on. That right now, with the cost of steel and logistics in 2022, 2023, it proved problematic, and it kind of had a long gestation period, and the install went for a while, like 6 weeks, while we were waiting on some material and some parts and weather windows and that sort of thing, because we decided to put a roof on in the dead middle of winter, like at Christmas. So we did have one little snafu with a leak, but that got fixed. It's all repaired, new insulation, everything's sealed, everything's painted. We're good, but it was a little bit of a snafu. Yeah. After drawing up the plans, I had 6 different roofing companies come out and bid, and we went with the one that I felt in my gut that I trusted the most, and I'm happy with that decision. As an underlayment, they put Carlisle WIP WIP 300 water and ice protection, which can stand out all by itself for 6 months and is guaranteed not to leak. I did not get that at cost since I work for the company. I paid full retail. But we went ahead and put on the standing seam roof, and we are the first house in the neighborhood with a steel roof. So that was nice. So there in that valley is where we had the issue with the water. We had just a little bit of a material shortage over a week period, and during that week it absolutely poured rain, and that's where the water came in. All right, so here is the ceiling itself with, the damage over there, or the stain over there. And then if I can show you, yeah, the FLIR, I think, tells a better tale of where everything's still wet. And you see, well, you're gonna have a temp diff because there's, in this one single bay, there's something, insulation out, but all of this is a moisture issue, and it goes all the way, it shoots all the way out over here, all the way up here, and that's kind of what we're looking at, and it goes all the way to the wall, and looks like we have a wall fall there as well. All right, so I have a little discoloration there, but in the FLIR scope you can see the temperature diff, but there's none of that ancillary moisture issue, so that's just where the insulation was taken out, but no additional moisture problems. We replaced the roof. We went ahead and pulled down the old, tired, 20-plus-year-old gutters and had new seamless gutters installed as well. I think it was well worth the time, effort, and cost. From the drone's eye view, you can really appreciate the roof and see what an utter and complete change it was. I mentioned that I did not choose the cheapest company. I did go with my gut, and I'm really happy with both the crew that put the roof on, the supervisor that ran the crew, the company owner, the company themselves. I mean, anybody can nitpick, little things here and there, but in truth, they did overall, in completion, a really nice job, and we're very, very proud to have this roof. It should last us the next 50 years or so, and it is one less thing that will keep me up at night worrying what's going on at the house.
We also decided, since we were going to stay here, we completely redid all the electrical. I updated the panel, and as I was going into that discussion of like what to do, solar came up, and so we decided to go with a greater than 10 kilowatt solar system as we upgraded the panel. So anyway, let me walk you through all of that and show you where we are.
With the standing seam steel roof and having solar, you don't have to screw through the roof like you do with the traditional roof. These clips just go on the outside of the roof, and we had a window right after, literally a week after the roof was completed, and the solar company hopped on and put the structure in for all of our panels and did some of the initial wiring. 6 weeks later, on very cold but dry days, the crew came out and they installed our panels on the house. I don't have everything hooked up just yet in time for this video to be complete, but in the next video in the series, I'll actually go through the full solar install. So, but we're happy. We're happy with how it looks, and we're going to be super pleased to have it working.
So we missed the paint window. So we bought the house and started working on it before we moved in. And by the time we moved in, it was like Halloween. We literally moved in the day before Halloween. And so we really couldn't get the exterior painted. We have decided on an exterior color. It's one of these two. And it's going to have black doors and black garage doors and then white trim. But that'll happen this summer as we work on the deck and the backyard and the front yard. So
just to remind you of what it looked like when we bought the house, it was all rental house gray brown.
Not sure if it shows, not in the direct sunlight, but these are the two test colors. It's only a single coat. Believe it or not, this one's super bright in the daylight. This is a better daylight color. So
just due to my schedule and the new baby and all sorts of things, I chose not to paint the house myself this time. So I interviewed 4 painting contractors, chose one, and on the first 4 sunny days in May, the crew showed up. And 2 really nice thick coats of paint. They back rolled between the coats. There were very, very few things that they had to go back and touch up. We were really happy with the company and happy with the crew and the job they did. And I think the change from, the rental house gray brown to the teal with the black doors is striking. It is a whole different house and a much, much better looking house, and one that feels like home.
I appreciate you following along on the first of what will be probably many videos of the new house and deconstruction and reconstruction. And if you have any questions about kind of what we've done system-wise or contractors or anything like that, please let me know. Thanks.